Well, hi everybody. It's Jack Doepke with Chisago Lakes Public Television. Today I'm here with Tanya Paine with the Chisago Lakes Early Literacy Project and the Books Across Our Parks. We're going to find out what this is and what's happening. So Tanya, hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Say Tanya, what is this Chisago Lakes Early Literacy Program?
Well, Jack, I'm really glad you asked that question. This started a little over 3 years ago, and our mission really is to create a coalition of organizations that are 100% focused on utilizing resources within our community to focus on early literacy, specifically for children ages 0 to 5.
Oh, okay. Well, how did this thing get going?
Well, about 3 years ago, I have two children. At the time, they were 2 years old and just a newborn. And, I plugged into the community. I got involved with the early childhood programs through community education. I went to a lot of our different programs through the library. And I just fell in love with what I learned and how I was able to apply that, being a mom with my children, helping to lay a strong foundation for them to be, our new future leaders, I guess you could say. And I stepped back and I said, gosh, is there a way, how can more people know about the resources we have in our community, specifically as you look at early literacy, because it's so important to begin building those early literacy skills between the ages of 0 and 5. So I reached out to community education, their early childhood arm of community education, and the library, as well as individuals within our community that are passionate about early literacy. Katie Malchow is one of the individuals. And I shared with them about, could we create something where people come together and we look across what we have in our community and we elevate what we have in the community focused on early literacy, and where we see there's gaps, could we create exciting events or programs or initiatives that could help the community come together and support children ages 0 to 5 in building their early literacy skills. And so that's kind of how it all came together, and that's the team. It's the library working with community education, working with individuals like myself, Katie Malchow, and others that have a passion for building early literacy skills in children ages 0 to 5.
Well, you pretty much explained your goals, right? So I think we got that down. So is early literacy important?
It's very important. When you think about what are the fundamental things that you could do as a parent or a caregiver for your child in those early years, providing opportunities to develop early literacy skills. And when you think, what are those? When you think about early literacy, it's vocabulary, it's awareness of letters and words and narrative, but how does that come to life? And a couple things that I learned, again, through participation with community education and the library, is it comes down to 5 very tangible things. It's with children, it's play with me, read with me, talk with me, write with me, and sing with me. And it's through those 5 very tangible things that early literacy skill development happens and builds that foundation to help a child develop curiosity and want to just feel excited about learning, and of course prepare them to be able to read once they get into school. And as a mom, just reading all of the research, all the new neurological research, my eyes were just, oh my gosh, were they opened. Learning that 80% of the brain, the foundation portion of it, is developed by the age of 3. So think about the neural networks that are developing that foundation and what you can do as a parent or caregiver by play with me, sing with me, write with me, talk with me. I mean, those key things, you're helping develop that wonderful foundation, that springboard for which children can thrive as they get older.
And if you miss that window of opportunity, they're at a disadvantage, aren't they?
They are. I mean, you're playing catch up. And so there's a wonderful opportunity you have in those first 5 years as a parent or as a caregiver to work on those 5 very tangible things I mentioned, and those really hitting those key elements of early literacy skill development, which builds a wonderful foundation. And it connects you with your children. I think for me, and having insight into all of that and tapping into the resources within our community and educating myself on how I could be a better caregiver to my children, I see it in their progress. My son is now almost 5 and my daughter just turned 3. And I love seeing their development. And I'm happy I've met the people in this community that have empowered me to be the caregiver that I want to be to my children. And we just want to share that with others.
So, Tanya, what is this Books Across Our Parks?
Oh, I am very excited to share this. It's one of the capstone projects of the Early Literacy Project, and the team has been working on this for over 3 years. When we first came together in August and set our strategic mission, what we wanted to do, how we wanted to work together with the library, community education, individuals within the community passionate about early literacy, with our mission, we came up with 5 key initiatives that we wanted to do over the next 5 years, with Books Across Our Parks being the capstone. And what it is it's building little free libraries across our parks and community centers, and having that be a hub, a resource to empower families and caregivers to enjoy story time and playtime with their children, as well as be a central hub that community education and the library can provide information to parents and caregivers about what's happening in the community. Back to what I said, leveraging resources that we have and helping spread the word about what our community has to empower families and caregivers in helping build those early literacy skills.
So, how did this come about? Is it happened elsewhere, or did we originate this here?
So Books Across Our Parks was inspired by the Little Free Libraries, which is a national organization. Yes, and they're nationwide. So you may have seen them if you around Minnesota, different parks, you'll see little kiosks. The typical backbone of Little Free Libraries is it's any type of genre, and you give a book, take a book. What's very unique and specific about Books Across Our Parks is the books are only for children ages 0 to 5. So when you visit one of our kiosks, you'll notice it's early readers, board books, and picture books. And so we were very specific, and it gets back to what I was saying earlier. We really want to focus on building those connections between caregivers and families, and reading and enjoying and building that love of learning through the children's books. So that's what's very unique about ours.
Is this kind of, so this is under the umbrella of the Literacy Project, right?
Yes, we kicked it off, and then we went out into the community, and community education, the Chisago Lakes Community Foundation, as well as Elevate Builders partnered with us to really bring this to life. And it was true community collaboration. I have to say a huge thank you to Laura Hasseltine of Elevate Builders. She was my project lead in building these, and she reached out to so many people that just the craftsmanship is beautiful. We had makers finish carpentry, straight line carpentry, Unruly Acres, Suburban Glassworks came together to donate materials, donate their time and artistry to bring these to life. And it has come together by far. I never could have imagined how beautiful these would turn out. I remember when I initially pitched the idea, when we were thinking about projects for the Early Literacy Project, I shared with the team how at the time my son was 2 and my daughter was just born. And we walked past the little free library that was at the primary school. And I lifted my son up, and he opened the doors, and he saw all the kids' books in there, and he pulled out a book, and it was just so fun. And we took that with us to a park, and we read and we played. And that was really where the idea was born of, oh my gosh, we could take this little library concept, we could transform it to just focus on children's books, and we could spread this, put it in all of our parks. Because we love visiting the parks of Chisago Lakes, and how fun would that be to have a kiosk there that we could just open up, and your little one sees all these books, they pull one out, you play in the park, and you read a story. And so that's how it all came together. And like I said, through the support of all of these different organizations, we were able to build these and put them in our parks.
Well, speaking of parks, so where are they located, and how far out would you stretch your impact with this?
Yes, so initially we built 5, and the locations are Moberg Park, Lindstrom Beach Park, Lions Park, inside the Wildcat Community Center, and Paradise Park. And the rationale for putting them where we did for the initial launch year was we wanted to be in parks where there's a lot of traffic already, so that people can see them, spread the word, get excitement going about this, as well as parks that already have large events And so you think about all the different annual events we have at the different parks I mentioned, Moberg, Lions Park, Harmony in the Park at Lions Park, for example, is a wonderful way for the community to be able to see these if they might not just be stumbling upon a park and see them. And then inside the Wildcat Community Center, what's great is that becomes our central hub. So it's inside, and it represents the unity across all the cities of the Chisago Lakes area.
Ah, sure.
So very, very purposeful in where we placed each one.
So is this pretty much going to stay, like, say, within the school district?
For now, and we would love to expand out into all of Chisago County, and a lot of that will depend on the community and community support, the support like we've received now from Elevate Builders, from financial support from the Chisago Lakes Community Foundation. As we continue to receive support and also where we find the need from the community, we'd love to expand it beyond the 5 that we have.
So some other organization could approach you and your people and say, hey, we'd like to take this on too in our area.
Sure, and that's what's wonderful about Little Free Libraries is anyone that is passionate about books and literacy, they can put one in their front yard if they wanted to. Books Across Our Parks is very specific to children's books, and we have, just the halo of how we want to work with early literacy. And so if you really are passionate about children's books and building early literacy skills in children ages 0 to 5, then we are definitely open for people to contact us, and we can figure out a way to partner and expand what we're doing.
What are your criteria for a well-built, house?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that question because we put a lot of thought into this. When we first kicked off the building, Laura Hasseltine from Elevate Builders and myself, we went out to each park and we created a scoping document of what are all the elements we wanted to bring to bear to really integrate the library kiosks into the park and make it inviting for children to want to go to open up and just see the magic of the books. And so we looked at what is the emotional feel of the park. So if you think about Moberg Park and you've got the railroad theme, how could we incorporate elements of railroad? When you think about Lions Park and Harmony in the Park, you have the lion water fountain, you have the music that happens with Harmony in the Park. You think about Paradise Park and you have this beautiful treescape. You're kind of perched up on top of a hill and you look out at Chisago Lake. You see eagles in the air. So how can we bring all these things to life? And that's what we did. We partnered with Unruly Acres and they created this beautiful metal artwork that brought to life some of those things that we saw, which we felt were the essence of the visual and the emotional appeal of the park. So they fit. It makes it fun. You see it sticks out. And my kids and I were already filling with books, and they love it. They love opening the doors. We specifically made them no more than 40 inches high because we want a 3-year-old to be able to open it up, take out a book. We've created shelving in there so that we can place the books in different ways, keep it a little bit more organized and allow more of that forward facing. It's so important for the younger kids to be able to see the beautiful illustrations of the book. And so we like to face a lot of the books forward. So again, they feel gravitated towards it and they'll want to pull those books out to go read.
And so you customize the design to the area they're in, so not just all cookie cutter the same, are they?
No, and that's what's unique. We spent a lot of time with the scoping document, and then when we approached the Parks Commission, we partnered with them again. Is this the right emotional appeal? Are these the right cultural, the colors and the culture? If you think about what we did with Lundstrom Beach, we had the little dollar horse. Just all those little things we wanted to bring out of heritage of our community, colors that represent different things in our community, so that each one is very unique.
So you said children 0 to 5. Now, children that are 0 aren't reading a lot, but their parents read to them, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that is with placement as well. So how can we make sure that parents and caregivers notice these? And so we had the one at Lions Park is right next to the giant lion water fountain. And Lundstrom Beach, I love where they placed this. It's right right close to the fishing pier, and also as you would walk to get to the park as well as the beach. And that one I just love, because every time I go to refill it, I'm seeing people getting books and as they're going to have their fun time on the beach, and that just warms my heart to see that.
It sounds like this really adds to the aesthetic of the park, having this little work of art that's also functional.
Yes.
And builds dreams and character and builds people for the community.
And we were very, very intentional in that, so that it becomes part of the park, and it becomes really creating like a magical world for kids. Kids love to go to the park. Oh my gosh, it's a staple with my little kids. And now to have a little kiosk that brings all these little elements of the park to life, to be able to read and to be able to play. It's the perfect marriage of what you need to help build the early literacy skills we talked about earlier. I've already seen on social media just what this is doing to bring smiles and happiness to our community. I've had a couple people post that they've seen different groups of moms or dads or grandparents sitting under a tree reading books that they've gotten from the kiosk, and they're like, oh, I wish I had some kids so that I could do that. And I love that, because that's modeling the behavior of what we want to see in the world that will inspire other parents and caregivers to say, gosh, it's not just about playing at the park, but we can also have a picnic and read and share in this connection. And it's a beautiful thing. And it's a wonderful way for the community to support what we're doing and support building that beautiful foundation for our children by reading to them.
So what are the kinds of books, and then where do you get them?
Yes, good question. So over the last 3 years, I've been very fortunate to receive a lot of book donations. So the Chisago Lakes Community Foundation, as soon as we kicked off the project and what we wanted to do, they donated over 800 gently used books, which was so helpful. And I've had so many other businesses, families donate both new and used books. Our goal, again, with the lens to how do we make this very sustainable over definitely the first year and onward, I've collected more than 5,000 books, both new and used. I'm storing them in my basement right now, and we don't want the little free libraries to run dry. And so since we first got the first 3 installed, I've already put in close to 300 books just in the last 2 weeks. And it's wonderful. I'm more than happy to fill the kiosks, because I know that caregivers and families are enjoying the books with their kids. And then that's how we keep it sustainable moving into the future, as more people become aware of what this is. If they have books that maybe the kids have outgrown them, but they enjoyed them and they had so much fun, put it in the little free library, share that experience with another child. It's a wonderful way for this community to keep the books across our parks, library kiosks going year 3, year 5, year 10.
How do you display it?
Yes, good question. And so right now I start with 25 at a time.
Oh, okay.
And I typically visit them about 3 times a week now, just again to make, for me to get a feel of how things look, and is that enough? Is it too many? Is it too little? And to your point, we want to make sure that some are facing forward. So again, you can see that beautiful illustrative work that just captures children's imagination. So far 25 seems to be the magic number each time.
Yeah. So the park board puts these in, the city works department?
Yes.
So are they on a sturdy stand, or how's that work?
Yes, and again, compliments to Elevate Builders and their craftsmanship. When you go out to visit these in the parks, you'll notice it is quite a heavy post that goes in, almost like a mailbox post that they're attached to. And what you don't know is that majority of that post is actually into the ground, because these were about 6 feet long. But because we want these lower to the ground for children, they're really rooted into the ground, because safety is definitely a priority with making sure they're safe as little kids are opening and closing them.
And it's not wood that's going to rot or anything.
No. And that, again, the beauty of partnering with Elevate Builders and the carpentry and the sourcing of materials. It was, how do we source for the long run. So again, they can weather the outdoors. That was one of the key things in the scoping document when Laura and I were putting everything together, is make sure that it can withstand a Minnesota winter, the fluctuations in temperature, rain, winds, and lots of use of opening and closing the door. And so when you look at these kiosks, that's the other thing, they're almost like little mini houses.
Yeah.
I mean, they're using materials that you would see in a regular home that's built. And so they're built to last and built to have fun. One of the things you'll notice when you visit each one of the kiosks is that we have a nice little brochure in there. And we were very purposeful in creating almost like a treasure map here. And so it's books mark the spot. And so you'll see an image of each one of the little libraries and kind of a little treasure hunt to each one. And I think one of the fun things could be is, you can go with your child to each one of the parks and experience. They're all so different. They're so unique. These are just some of the favorite parks of that I bring my children to, and we have fun at each one. And they actually love it on Wednesday, book fill day. That's one of the things, they get to pick the park that we'll end our stops at so that they can play. So they're loving this too, keeping these stocked.
So do you want some more help? Do you need help?
We would. The biggest thing right now is for the community to get involved, to go out and visit all the little libraries that we have as part of Books Across Our Parks. Head to Lions Park, especially during Harmony in the Park. Listen to some music with your family, play at the playground, read a book together. Check out the Wildcat Community Center. I mean, it is honed in on Wildcat pride, and we really love that one. Experience the little libraries and spread the word. And if you have books at home, especially ones that you have treasured, and even if they're a little bit beat up, that's okay. Write a special message in there. Put it in the kiosk. You never know the impact that you could make on another individual, another family, another child. And this is all about how do we inspire a curiosity and just ignite a passion for learning. And that's what this can do. And so that's what our community can do right off the bat. Visit these, model it. And when I say modeling, it's grabbing a book, sitting with your family, and reading a story. That's the best way the community can get involved.
Yeah.
And as we look at a lens towards the future, if there's a Boy Scout or Girl Scout group or any other group that says, gosh, I have a passion for reading stories to children, can we host story times at the kiosks led by these different groups? And I think this project is a wonderful example of what the community can do when you're inspired by a wonderful purpose. How can we, again, ignite the passion for lifelong learning in children, help them develop the early literacy skills that they need to thrive years down the road. When you set something out there with a purpose, you find people with a passion for that purpose, then everyone works together. And I think this project and the individuals from community education to the library to Elevate Builders and their craftsman team, everyone coming together, it just shows what can be done by a community, and it's a beautiful thing.
I have a new greeting for you for your organization I just came up with. So a way of saying hello, you put your hands together like it's a book, and you go, hello. You open
like
the book, and then you can turn the pages. But then when your goodbye is, you close the book.
There you go.
Well, tell you what, let's look at the video that you guys have made.
Sure.
And I also put the contact information on for anybody to get a hold of you.
Wonderful.
But thank you for explaining this. This is a tremendous project and a gift to the community.
Thank you. I'm so excited, and I encourage everyone to visit the Books Across Our Parks little libraries, and thank you to the Chisago Lakes community for coming together to make this happen.